That is the sound of the one species that I want in the game more than any other. Frontier is listening. Frontier is watching. For the past year, Frontier has been improving Jurassic World Evolution 2, and it is clear that they are listening to the community. Since we have their attention, allow me to introduce the #1 Dinosaur Pack DLC that I want in 2023. The Prehistoric Creature Pack. GLYPTODON is lonely as the only non-dinosaur land animal in the game currently. He needs some friends. Hopefully, Lytrosaurus is soon coming to the game as we are expecting Frontier to announce some kind of second Dominion-related DLC on Tuesday, given that they teased us with what sounds like Atrociraptor roars last week. So yes, the timing of this video is very poor, but it was already in the works, so here we go. Terrorbirds are appropriately named. They are absolutely terrifying, and none more so than the biggest of them all, the Kalenkin. I probably mispronounced that, but let's move on. The Kalenkin had the largest skull of any bird, of course when we consider dinosaurs and birds as separate categories. At the end of its beak was a sharp hook to peck and tear at its prey, and if it kicked you, much like ostriches do, you'd get stabbed and slashed by the long talons on its feet. With those weapons, the Kalenkin would have some awesome attack animations if it came into Jurassic World Evolution 2. During the hunt, it could run alongside its prey while pecking at it until it goes down, and during battle, the Kalenkins could kick each other or other opponents. It would be very different from what we have in the game currently, which is exactly the point of this creature pack that I'm proposing. It's not so much about more species, but rather about more variation. And this is the perfect time for me to address that while this is the ultimate creature pack that I'd want, more species isn't actually the #1 thing I want for the game. And it might be interesting to do a video in the future discussing a dedicated attractions and decorations DLC, which is what I think the game needs more. But you know, it seems like most DLCs are creature based, so I'm leaning into that. What makes the Kalenkin an even more exciting prospective addition to the roster is that the Terrorbird was obviously feathered. Frontier has done amazing work introducing feathers into the game on a few species, and I previously mentioned in another video that they should do an entire feathered dinosaur pack. But the Kalenkin would also be a great excuse to bring more feathers in as well, and they could unleash the same colorful creativity on the Terrorbird as they have for the Pyroraptor. I really want to see the Kalenkin with some vibrant colors. To perhaps make the creation of this species a little easier on Frontier, they could reuse the ornithomimid rig for the basic movements of the Kalenkin, as they were similar in size and physiology. This is a weird creature to have on the list, I know, but that's exactly why I added it. I always say weird is good, and especially when it comes to the existing creature roster, we could use a little more weird, again for variety. GLYPTODON belongs to an extinct group of large armadillos, and as such, it is rather surprisingly a mammal. I don't know if mammals are ever gonna be a thing in Jurassic World Evolution 2, but if we are indeed getting those missing Dominion species in that upcoming DLC that has been teased, then it shows a real commitment to give us all the creatures that have appeared in the franchise, which should then include Camp Cretaceous. From Camp Cretaceous, we are now missing the newly added Tarbosaurus, the Nothosaurus, and the Smilodon. So perhaps, just like there seems to be a second Dominion DLC in the works, there could be a second Camp Cretaceous DLC, and it could be a way to sneak mammals into the game. Same for the GLYPTODON in my proposed creature pack. Although I do hope that if mammals are going to get sprinkled in like this, we would eventually get a full mammal pack. Otherwise, especially the Smilodon would stick out like a sore thumb in our parks. As for the GLYPTODON, I just think it would be wonderfully unique. It's kind of funny looking, but I think that's also the appeal of the Lytrosaurus, which is one of the most popular species from the latest movie, judging by the comments I always get whenever I discuss the missing Dominion species. Third in my creature pack is the SARCOSUCHUS, and we're starting to get into some nostalgia here for me personally. When I was younger, I went to a natural history museum here in the Netherlands called Naturalis, and they had a complete replica skeleton as well as a life-sized model of the Sarcosuchus on display, and it blew me away. In a way, even more so than the dinosaurs, because as just a giant crocodile, it felt so much more familiar, and in a way it felt more real, which is silly because, you know, dinosaurs were real, but it's probably like this primal thing in the brain or something that you actually recognize it, but then the sheer size of it blows your mind. It was my favorite thing from that visit to the museum. I think having the Sarcosuchus in Jurassic World Evolution 2 would be really epic. Now, personally, I am picking the Sarcosuchus over the Dinosuchus for several reasons. Of course, my personal nostalgia factor, but also because the Sarcosuchus imperator is from Africa, so we'd get another African dig site, whereas Dinosuchus would be another species that has an American dig site, and the USA is already way too riddled with dig sites as it is in the game. I also think the Sarcosuchus has a slightly more interesting look, but again, that's personal preference. I think Dinosuchus might be the more popular species overall. I wouldn't be mad at either, I just prefer the Sarco. Let me know in a comment down below which giant crocodile would be your pick. Now, both of these species come with a problem. The game isn't made for them. There is no way for an animal to be both on land and swim. The water brush doesn't generate deep enough water, and the lagoons can't be attached to a regular exhibit, so the animals can't go in and out of the water. For a mega croc, that's kind of an issue, and this goes for the Nothosaurus as well if we are gonna get that. And, you know, since it does appear in Camp Cretaceous, I would consider it more likely that a Nothosaurus could indeed be a possibility. Realistically, though, I don't see Frontier changing the inner workings of the game for a couple of species, potentially only one, potentially only the Nothosaurus. But like I said, they are listening. So might I suggest as an add-on to the lagoon, like a decoration that gets rid of the lagoon fence in a section, replaces it with a ramp, and allows you to attach regular fences to it. I think that would be fairly easy to incorporate? Question mark? I don't know anything about this stuff, but it seems doable. And then the animals would just interact with this singular section that you place onto the lagoon with a standard animation for going in and out of the lagoon. So they can alternate between walking on land and swimming in the water. If that's not something that's gonna happen, if having a mega croc in our park means that, just like Dimetrodon, it just likes sitting in the water and then that's it, then maybe instead of the giant croc, we should get the giant shark instead. This is not my fourth species for the pack. This is just an alternative to the Sarcosuchus, if that would come with too many compromises. The Megalodon has already been modded into the game, I know that. Obviously, there's a lot that can be done with mods, the sky is the limit, but I'm advocating for actual official additions to the game that everyone can enjoy. Because most people play this game on console, and there's a mod for that, is no valid reason to not want it to come into the game officially. Megalodon is a super popular prehistoric species, so I don't think I'm the only one who would want it in the game. However, if it does get added to the game, I would hope that they do something similar to the modded version of the species, and not just make it look like an oversized great white shark. Okay, so the pack so far consists of Kalenkin, GLYPTODON, and either Sarcosuchus or Megalodon, my bonus replacement species. Finally, I'd want to see my favorite species from the Walking with Dinosaurs documentary in Jurassic World Evolution 2. The whole reason I made this video, the species that I built this entire hypothetical pack around. The Prehistoric. Yes, indeed, GLYPTODON is not my favorite species from Walking with Dinosaurs. I love GLYPTODON, but Prehistoric, perhaps just through the merit of being the first major carnivore we see in the Walking with Dinosaurs documentary, had a huge impact on young dino nerd Evo. And it first introduced me to the concept that there were other prehistoric creatures other than dinosaurs that could be so dang cool. And I'm gonna be really unpopular and unscientific and selfish here, and specifically say that I would want the quadrupedal Posasaurus, even though it walking on four legs has been debunked since Walking with Dinosaurs in 1999, and it is now believed to be bipedal. Screw that! I just want a Posasaurus to walk on all fours. It's not like Jurassic World Evolution hasn't taken a liberty with that before, with species being bipedal when they shouldn't be and vice versa, and based on a little Google search, Universal is still portraying it as a quadrupedal animal in Jurassic World the game. Ever since I first saw that Posasaurus, I've never forgotten about it, and I think what I specifically like about it now, as a hypothetical addition to my favorite game, is how it walking on all fours would set it apart from nearly all other carnivores in the game. Currently, it's only the Dimetrodon. All other terrestrial carnivores are bipedal. My wishlist DLC would add SARCOSUCHUS and Posasaurus to the Quad Squad. Obviously, Frontier can't just copy the design from Walking with Dinosaurs. That design is protected by copyright, but they could put their own spin on it whilst keeping it walking on four legs and keep that tanky armored look to it. One thing I never liked about Walking with Dinosaurs, and this might be a hot take, but one thing I never liked about that documentary, and after rewatching it, it just became all the more apparent again, the absolutely awful tinny sound effects for the creatures. They all sound very hollow and mechanical. It sounds like a robot imitating dinosaur sounds. So I'd love to hear what Frontier sound designers could come up with for a Posasaurus roar. Create your own perfect Prehistoric Creature pack in a comment down below. Thank you so much for watching, liking, subscribing, and until next time, enjoy the game.